What's up, friends? So today we're going to be reviewing a show that essentially proves the theory of not all shows require a reboot. Today we're going to be going over the brand new HBO Max show, Gossip Girl. So Gossip Girl, if you guys don't remember, is actually a reboot of an original show, Gossip Girl OG, that came out a long time ago. But this show is essentially set in the same universe, but not the same characters. It's not necessarily a continuation of the original plot, but plays upon the same themes and ideas. So Gossip Girl is currently on HBO Max. It just came out. All episodes of the first season have aired. In total, there's a total of 6 episodes. So Gossip Girl essentially follows the story of a group of teens who attend a New York private school that's quite unique. So these teens are essentially the upper class, as in they're daughters or sons of very wealthy people, they're influencers, they're people with a lot of social power, and this show essentially chronicles them dealing with the impacts of social media, the impact of high school drama, and relationships and situations they get into within themselves and the people around them. The real plot essentially stems from the idea that these teens start to gain a lot of power. Since they are popular on social media, since they have very powerful parents, they kind of run this school. It's a private school where donors kind of make decisions on, what teachers are hired there, what teachers work there. So it's a lot of power that these, younger individuals hold. So a group of teachers one day creates a plan to take back some of that power, essentially. And they do that by resurrecting an entity known as Gossip Girl. An entity that essentially spies on and reports on these students and other drama that occurs during the school and through the school to kind of take away some of the power from the students and create a more level playing field. So starting off with if it's engaging or not, I think if this is your cup of tea, it'll hook you and it'll keep you engaged all the way until the end. If that's anyway not something you normally watch, this is definitely not going to interest you in any way possible, but I'll explain. Essentially, you need to be in love with drama, teen angst, social media, the impact of social media, and that whole sphere of influencer live and so on and so forth to really enjoy this show. If you're not interested in any of those, this is definitely a must skip because it plays heavily on the drama of those influencers, the drama of the lives of people who are very caught up in social media and portraying an image and so on and so forth. So that a majority of the themes discussed in the show might be lost on average viewers who don't care about that. So if you're really into drama, if you're into the social media sphere, if you're really interested in that type of content, then this show will keep you hooked because you get a little bit of the backstory of how influencers rise, how you have to carefully manage each and every step as an influencer, and how everything you do can be a major setback and can have drastic issues, on your social identity, on your social profile. However, one caveat I will throw in, after a while, some of the things in the show start to get a little bit rinse and repeat. And what I mean by that is, you'll run into situations where characters deal with a specific situation, a specific character, a relationship, so on and so forth. And then in the next episode, suddenly, all of it's disappeared, and the characters are back to dealing with each other the way they were before. To give you an example, let's say a character and another character fight at the beginning of an episode. They get in an argument, they patch things up by the end of the episode. Weirdly enough, the next episode will start them fighting again. And it's like, we just watched you guys patch it up. We just watched you guys deal with the situation. Is there not a more creative plot or creative things that can be thrown into here to make it more interesting than just having the same characters fight again and again? And so because of that, it's very easy to lose interest in the plot and the characters very quickly if you just aren't fully hooked in and bought in on the social media life and the influencer life. In addition to that, a lot of the situations these characters go through are highly unrealistic, rather from a legal standpoint, straight up from a social standpoint. I mean, there's a lot of situations these characters get into that you're gonna be thinking, wait, this could have been handled a completely different way, a much safer way. So in that sense, if you're somebody who likes their shows grounded in reality, who likes their shows really to have a blend of fiction, but also, have its foot in reality, this might not be the show for you because it doesn't really have that. The show also takes itself way too seriously. It sets it up to be some sort of like drama show that has a little bit of social commentary, that plays on very modern themes of social media and the impact of social media, kind of like Euphoria. However, it then takes itself way too seriously while also adding in comedy of elements that just don't work, literary themes that kind of make sense but also are a little bit far-fetched, which leads me to my next point: the characters in the show. Now, one quick good point about the characters is that they are fantastically diverse, and the representation in the show is fantastic. If you're somebody who values that, this might be a show to check out because it has everything represented in very well respectable ways. And since the original Gossip Girl didn't really have too much diversity, I mean, it was made a long time ago, so it is what it is, but it's refreshing to see HBO take a stand and completely flip the script and make it very diverse and very accepting in that sense. Nevertheless, none of that really helps the characters. So even though they look fresh and engaging and fantastic, the script and their personalities, on the other hand, just don't cut it. So first off, even though these actors are well cast and I feel like they do a fantastic job of representing different communities, the acting itself isn't necessarily the most fantastic. And I think a part of that is because of the writing and the way lines and the characters are written. A lot of the characters are one-dimensional in that they have one personality and they stick with it the entire time. Other characters seemingly are well built. However, when you really take a look at them, they make the same mistakes again and again. They act in the exact same way again and again. And along those lines, every character kind of has this weird thing they do. And I urge you to look into if you can spot this if you decide to watch the show, because it's really stood out to me and I'm curious if it's something that stood out to you as well. But every character tries to ride the line between mean and nice in such a weird way. So you'll have characters that in one scene are super nice and super apologetic and try to act like everything they're doing is angelic. And in the next scene, you'll see them stabbing somebody in the back or just being downright hurtful for no reason, bouncing back and forth, back and forth. One, doesn't help develop them as a strong character because you never really get a sense of who their personality is because they're flip-flopping back and forth so many times. And also on top of that, it doesn't help you connect to them as humans because you don't see them as realistic. You don't see them as real people because they're making the same mistakes again and again. They're acting in weird, inhuman ways where they're nice one second, mean the next second. They act like something's important in one second and the next second it's gone out the window. Characters change personalities so quickly that it's really hard to get a good grasp of any of the characters, honestly. And because of that, you might have a hard time relating to any of these characters. This further helps to pull you away from the show because it's not realistic in any way, right? I mean, these characters are acting very unrealistically. They seem like friends. The whole premise is a tight friend group, yet they fall apart constantly and they stab each other constantly and they just don't seem to have that chemistry that a long-standing group of friends would have. Now, I understand these are all complaints and they might go over your head if you watch it and you like this type of content. If you take everything at face value, it's acceptable. But if you're somebody who actually cares about their characters in their shows, somebody who actually wants development and actually wants some sort of personality behind your characters, you might have a hard time finding that in this show. Now, in reference to what's unique about this show, the first thing I have to mention right off the bat, because it stunned me, it's truly fantastic, and I think for it alone, it might be worth checking out this show because it's that fantastic. The fashion in this show. The fashion in the show kills it on every level. Whoever the costume designer was for the show, unbelievable job. It's all high-end fashion, right? Which you'd expect from an influencer type crowd. Characters look so good on screen, and every situation, whether it be a ballroom where characters are even more dressed up, whether it be the classroom where they're wearing uniforms slightly but customized, no matter where they are, no matter which scene it is, characters look flawless, and it's fantastic. And I hope to see more of this stylist and costume designer in other shows because they killed it. Another thing this show does fantastically is the soundtrack. You can pick any song in any episode, and it'll be a fantastic song, ranging from Frank Ocean classics to alternative music hits to pop hits that has music from classic original artists all the way to artists that are blowing up right now. And because of that, it is fantastic. You'll find songs you have heard in the past, find songs you're hearing right now on the radio, you'll find songs that you've never heard of but you'll want to check out. For those two aspects, the fashion and the soundtrack, the show got a couple more bumps up my ladder just because of those. It really did such a fantastic job on those. But the characters and the plot really helped drive this show back down because, you know, if you don't have those, what really do you have? So all in all, for Gossip Girl 2021, I rated this show a 2 out of 4, as in, if anything I mentioned in this review piqued your interest, if you were listening and you're like, wait a minute, this is kind of my type of show, then I recommend checking it out. Otherwise, it might be a skip. I mean, altogether, there's not much to be gained out of this show. The drama is petty enough to where you're not gonna really care. The characters are not well built to where you're not gonna be attached, you're not gonna again care about them. It suffices if you have literally nothing to do and you really like drama and social media influencers, the lives of influencers, and that chaotic world, and you liked the original Gossip Girl, maybe give it a chance. But even then, there are better shows out there. So now I'll be moving on to the Parents Guide, so I can detail a little bit about the content to expect in this show, so you can get a better sense of who to show it to and why. So starting off, this show is rated TV MA. So in terms of balance, there's not really too much balance in the show. There's arguments, yelling, there's one fight that is very brief and is more talked about, and the thematic nature of the fight is really more impactful. The fight itself is very quick and very short and not graphic at all. The themes mentioned in this show are a little bit dark, especially for younger audiences. They deal with depression, and they deal with school shootings, and they deal with the dark impact of social media. Themes that everyone should learn about and everyone should be familiar with. Themes that are important, especially in this day and age, you know, but themes that are a little bit darker. So just a fair warning. So in terms of balance, in total, I give this film a 2 out of 5. In terms of sexual content, I give this film a 5 out of 5. There is a lot of sexual content in this film, and it varies quite differently from the original. But in this show, expect full male frontal nudity and brief but also female frontal nudity. There are sex scenes in almost every episode, if not every other episode. There is male rear nudity sometimes as well. The male frontal nudity is graphic, and it's in one scene with a play specifically. The male rear nudity, however, is seen multiple times throughout the show. There are scenes in bathrooms, there are scenes in spas, there are scenes just with characters, and it can be quite graphic at times. Just as a warning, these scenes are in this show, and this show is definitely not for younger audiences. Finally, in terms of language, I give the show a 4 out of 5. There are a couple F words, especially in the beginning of the show versus the end. The end kind of peters out. There's still a lot of D words and S words. Expect strong language. So all in all, Gossip Girl altogether might be a skip, unless it's your cup of tea. It's amazing to see the original Gossip Girl theme kind of transfixed into a modern day situation. So all in all, let me know in the comments below if you checked out Gossip Girl, if you liked it or not. If you agree with my review, if you don't, let me know. If you like this content, like and subscribe for more. Until next time, I'll catch y'all later.